How do you change the world? Don't worry about it. The world will change on its own. You change one life. You change one thought. My name is Sushmita Sen, and I'm a proud mother of two very beautiful young ladies, one of who is already ready to be a model. What's your name?
What's your name? Renée.
What does Renée say to Mama? Mama, you are?
Destiny.
Renée means being born again, a rebirth. And for me, the last 5 years have meant Renée. Well, I had spoken to my parents when I was 18. I said, I want Renée. And at the age of 18, I knew she'd be named Renée. This was one action where, of course, my mom and dad, who have always brought me up to have a mind of my own, even they told me that, see, it's not that we're asking you not to do this. Please do. But don't wake up one morning and say, you know, I don't know what I've done, I don't know how to deal with it, or anything like this. And I said to Daddy, I said, to be very honest, I don't know what I'm doing. As in terms of, you know, how do you raise a child? What do you tell a child that'll work for her? But then, Daddy, tell me one mother in this world who's a graduate mother. How does she know how to raise a child? Just because she gives birth to one doesn't make her a mother. How she raises one makes her one. And I learn. I went to about 14 organizations, and they all refused me because they don't apparently give to single parents at all. And some people had this very strange notion of, what if this is a publicity stunt?
Gosh.
Please.
Yeah.
All I have to do is be on the cover of a magazine to get the publicity I want. I don't need to take on a lifetime responsibility for that. So then I gave up. I told her, Radhika, I said, this is it. It's not meant to be. And she goes, there's this one last organization. Let's give it a shot. I'm like, no, that's it. So anyway, she came back with 6 medical histories of children. I looked at all 6 children, and at that point, I didn't know which medical history was which child. My logic was that I had to meet every single child and say, call her out to be Renée. And the one that would react would be my baby. Well, one yawned, one gave me a very strange look, and they were all very, very sweet. And then there was Renée, who was kind of sleepy and tired and almost asleep. And then she just looked to me and we said, Renée, and she just opened her eyes and she smiled like that. She didn't smile like this. She smiled like, and I was like, is that her smiling or what is she doing? But she reacted to her name beautifully. And that was it. I said, that's her. Till this point, nobody told me there was a health problem. After I said, this is the baby, they turned around and said, but we have a problem with this child. She's from the time of birth, she has been in a hospital for 4 months. And she has acute gastroenteritis, she has acute bronchitis. And because of the heavy dose of antibiotics pumped into a 6-month-old baby, her nerves are busted, there is a lot of problems, and she may not be mentally fit a year later. And that was actually just a mistake that happened. They were not to bring that child out. And I said, no, this can't be true. I got 2 pediatricians to come and check her. And both of them said, well, not a child fit for adoption. This has got to be the worst joke anybody's ever played on me. 3rd pediatrician was brought in, and he checked her out and said, you know, she has a very sharp brain. I will be very surprised if she does not take to your environment and come out of this problem. But it's a chance anyway. And I called up my mom and I called up my father at that point, and I said, I found Renée. They take the biological mother's name and they seal it in an envelope. And they say that when the little girl is 18 years old, she can then ask to know who her biological parents were. But I must admit, it's a huge loss for them.
She insisted on living life on her own terms, even as a single mother, adopting a child in the face of rigid societal norms and unclear laws.
In India, at 24, they did not accept single mothers.
Right.
I think Upar Wala chahta tha, and when he wants something, it happens. They did finally give me Renée. Jab mera time tha, the first time around, it was very difficult. You had about 26 documents which you had to put together along with affidavits. And like mere pitaji ko, High Court mein, meri bitiya ke liye apni आधे से ज़्यादा worth sign off करनी थी, to show intent. So which, unless you have very supportive families,
Yeah.
it's difficult to do that. For my second child, however, because the courts had seen me with my first child, they took my word for it, which is a big thing. We are sort of Renée and Sushmita Sen are a president in the High Courts now. People use that to for single adoptions now. So yes, that did work out well. Though I have to say, with the number of children in orphanages, it is imperative that laws of that country support adoption, protecting the child, of course, but support it more. When we went to the High Court judge, he of course asked my father, Mr. Sen, you don't think this will be a problem? Your daughter's getting married now. She comes with a, well, general perception, a liability, you know, and have you thought about that? So I love my Baba, a very simple man. He turned around and said, please have a look at her. Do you think I have raised her only identity to be someone's wife? Right? And that nailed it. I think
Nice.
the judge just smiled and said, you can have the child. I had decided way before that the only way I'm going to be a good mother is if I continue to lead a normal life. If I start doing the whole bit of sacrificing and cutting down on this and cutting down on the space and time I have for myself, I will be miserable and I will not be able to make the child very happy either. I have never made any sacrifices for my children. Because when you put sacrifice in an element, you tend to let the child feel the pressure of, I did this for you. For this child, she had no choice. She didn't choose me, I chose her. Yes. But down the line, I hope she chooses me back. I believe in serendipity, ladies and gentlemen. I believe कि दुनिया में जो भी होता है, किसी वजह से होता है. It's not an accident. As Mother Teresa once told me, just a year before she passed away, she changed my life, I tell you that. I was 18 years old and I went and met her in Kolkata. And I told Ma that, Ma, you know, I see so many babies. There must have been about 55 cribs in there. And they're all girls. They don't have boys, or do you have a separate room for boys? So she says, no, we had only 4 boys and all have been adopted. These are only the girls. And the reason, she smiled about it, she said, these are the lucky ones. They didn't end up in dustbins. They ended up with a future where somebody, a loving home, is going to recognize the fact that there is a reason why the law of nature says to you, I will not let you choose. When you become pregnant, you will not know, you shouldn't, if it's a girl or a boy. That is law's nature of keeping the balance between the nurturer and the provider. When we kill the nurturer, ladies and gentlemen, we create an imbalance that we will be so sorry in generations to have done, because life will stop to exist the way we see it. I made a promise that day कि अगर आप इतनी छोटी सी चीज़ हम समझ लेते हैं कि जब लोग दुनिया बदलने चलते हैं तो डर जाते हैं. You can't change the world. Are you crazy? There's just so many number of people doing all numbers of things. How do you change the world? Don't worry about it. The world will change on its own. You change one life. You change one thought. You tell one father, today, truly you're a blessed man. Because not only do you have a girl, you have the womb of the universe. She will then nurture life beyond, right? And so, with all of your blessings and all of my country, that despite being an Indian woman, you gave me the courage to be a single mother. Every day asked me about my Renée and my Alisah. You've given me, as you should, every girl child this opportunity. Because God, as my greatest truth, I tell you, all of us here stood on our own 2 feet because we are capable. And that nobody can take away from us. Ladies and gentlemen, you're beautiful people and you've been a tremendous source of strength for me my entire life. Tonight, take that strength home, change one opinion, one life. I'll do that with Renée and Alisah. You do that with whoever you want. I love you people. Thank you very much.